Yo, what's up, my peoples? Triple Eight Mega here, bad deck enthusiast. And after a long, grueling, annoying, frustrating, disastrous grind on a ladder, I want to say we made it to Diamond 1 with Despia. But first, please like, comment, and subscribe because I'm new to YouTube and it will help me out a lot. So let's get to it. So here's the deck list that almost got me there. It was very strong. Very, very strong. So this was a go second deck list, and it focused on cards like Incredible Ecclesia and Fallen of Albaz, as well as Forbidden Droplet. So pretty much just hang back, break your board, and OTK with Quiritus and Numeron Dragon, as well as secret spicy texts like the Iris Sword Soul and Chaotic Ruler if we could get to it. And the problem was the consistency. I felt that the DPE package, I would draw Dasher way too many times. Dasher was always in my hand. He's like the friend you never wanted. And yeah, it's just not very good. We made it all the way to Diamond 2 for a rank up match about 2 to 3 times. And it was a combination of both the deck being not too consistent and us like getting our worst possible hand and matchup. It's probably out of my control, but yeah, there's like a lot of auto win decks on the ladder that you don't want to go first, which forces you to go first. But if your deck is built going second, then you're in a bad position. So we decided to change things up. We made a different deck list, and this deck list focused on Masquerade Turbo. Oh, let's and here's the Diamond 1 deck. So this deck focused differently. It was more along the lines of going first. Masquerade Turbo, so we cut all the Albaz stuff, we cut the DPE package, we focused more on the fusions. Triple Masquerade, the first Dark Lord, it's just an extra card in here. And what we did was we just pretty much decided to go first, make as many Masquerades as possible, try to get Branded Opening in the graveyard for protection, and let our opponents burn themselves. And it made it to Diamond 1, so here we are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a few gameplay. Some duels that really stuck out to me. Now for this duel, we're going up second, and it's against Adagnister, and our hand is freaking terrible. But we have Max C, so maybe our Max C will get through. So he normal summons. We could try to Max C. Nope, no Max C. So right away, a very bad position to be in. You know they're going to summon at least 8 times, and we could have drew cards for that. But no. Super Poly does not work on a rival Cybers, so this is dead. Edgem Chain is fine, but without anything to fuse him with or send him to the graveyard, that's not too good. Allure of Darkness is a gamble that we might have to take. So let's see what happens. Maxi got negated. He adds I Meet You. Goes into Dark Infant. Gets the field spell. And then he combos off. We're going to fast forward this part because this part gets ridiculous. Here we are. 6,000 attack, a rival Cybers Adagnister. Unaffected by other cards' effects. Very dangerous monster. And he sets a card and gets 2,300 to the burn damage and ends his turn. We rip in a Patchwork, which still doesn't help. Poly, get a chain. But now we could try one of these allures off. And we get a Tragedy that we can banish and then add a monster that we would like. The thing about playing against Adagnister is that their graveyard is very dangerous. You have the Wind Pegasus, which can shuffle one of your cards back in the deck when you destroy a card that they own. And you have Donmari, which can negate one of your cards on the field just for free because it's in there. And also, which doesn't come up that often, but the Aichichi, they can banish this card and destroy a monster that they control when you attack. And it happens in the damage step, so you don't get like you don't get a replay on the battle pretty much you just don't deal damage. And it doesn't come up that often, but it has to be noted. You have to pay attention to it. So we banish the tragedy. We get to add Aliber. Just use the Aliber. We get impermed, so that's another negate that we didn't plan for. We add the next allure, but it was imperm column, so oopsie on my part. Poly gets negated by Don Mari, but we have the theater. So we go into Masquerade. Now, my only out for this card is Starving Venom, and I'm playing 2 of them. But in order to summon Starving Venom, I need 2 dark monsters on the field. I couldn't get 2 dark monsters on the field, so I decided to go for Masquerade. Because when Masquerade dies, I can bring them back. So that's the game plan. A Gym Chain adds a Patchwork. And we end our turn with the Super Poly. Super Poly is dead against this card, but if he decides to extend and go into other monsters, as you'll see, it will become live again. He pops the Masquerade. He gets a Dark Token. So our Super Poly's live. He summons a light monster. So now we have a Despia on the field, a light, and a dark. And that only makes one thing. He summons the Wind Pegasus. He's trying to destroy my spell and trap, so we pitch the chain. And we make Proskinian. Proskinian is really cool. He can revive your opponent's extra deck monster from the graveyard or banish them. Once per turn, quick effect in the main phase. So it comes up. I think we revive Dark Templar right now. Just as a body. I decided I need another body on the field. We have no way to protect this guy, so he gets ran over. But in the end phase, here comes Masquerade. That's 1 dark monster on the field. And our Patchwork should get us a second one. Get the Poly. Get the chain. But do we pitch the chain for the opening? Yes, we do. No, we pitched the Patchwork for the opening. Add Libitum. We're going to make Starving Venom here. Now, Starving Venom does not target, and he does not affect the other card. So he just literally just gains attack due to a special summoned monster on the field. So he gains 6,000. Ad Libitum brings back the Proskinian. And because we know that this Wind Pegasus in the graveyard will spin our cards back, we have to do something about it. So we bring it to our field. Mine now. And to the face. And we clap him with his own Wind Pegasus. So yeah, don't be sus. So this duel is us going first against Sword Soul. We have Edgem Chain, Aliber, Ad Libitum, Theater of the Branded, and Branded in Red. And this hand is pretty cracked, but it doesn't have any protection against Ash or anything like that. So let's see. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have it. So I guess to play around Ash, we just Fusion Summon immediately into Masquerade. Masquerade number 1, Ad Libitum will summon back the Aliber. Aliber will add a Branded Opening. Branded Opening can pitch the chain to get Patchwork. Adds a Tragedy. Chain will get the Patchwork. Patchwork will get us a Chain and a Poly. Now we can make this our second Masquerade. Also triggering the Tragedy to add maybe an Aliber to hand, or it could be a Dramaturge. So we went with the Dramaturge. Cool. Set the Branded in Red, which will be our third Masquerade on his turn. And he goes in perm immediately for one of the Masquerades. Then I see Ecclesia. I'm like, okay, we need a second Masquerade on the board, because this one has been compromised. So we use Ad Libitum and Dramaturge, which was a mistake on my end, because had I used a different combination of monsters, right now both of these cards want to summon a monster to the field, and they can't. So maybe I should have used Aliber. But that's what happens when you have too many resources. So we decided to use the Dramaturge, summon him back in attack mode, and 1200. For the Ecclesia, then he has to pay 1200 for Mo Yi. And now we know he has Taya in hand. Probably doesn't matter this turn. It still matters. 1200 for the Vessel. But he adds the Vishuddha. 1200 for the Taya. No, that's for the Vishuddha. Okay. So he spins the Dramaturge, which would have been a problem for his Chi Shell. But he goes Boxia to spin the 2 Masquerades, minus 1200 again. But now he's Masquerade free. But 800 life points left on turn 2. So he really needs to OTK us now, because although it doesn't look like we have much, and we probably don't, it's still a big deficit to come from. And to have attack position monsters on the field with only 800 life points is pretty risky. So he adds Long Yawn, activates the Long Yawn, pitches Taya, summons Long Yawn, summons Token, activates Shuna, summons Hara. He goes into Chang Ying. I don't know if this is because he was locked in the worms. So he locked himself in the worms just now. Because I was wondering about Baron, but he didn't go Baron. Long Yawn burns us. Alright, Chi Shao, Caliber. That brings us back to Masquerade. So you definitely don't want to do that. You always want to, if you're playing against Despia, you want to hit this field spell. If the field spell's on the field, definitely want to get rid of it. We rip in a Polymerization. So we just fuse. Make a Quiritus. Quiritus is very good at baiting out synchro monsters. With effects, with negates, with anything. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now he goes first to use his effect. But only because he wants to banish a card to activate his guy to banish us. So we chain it to make them 0. He imperms us. We summon back the Masquerade. Dramaturge comes back. Now he has no more interruption. So Jaglubion, Numeron Dragon, and smack him in the face. And that was all thanks to all the burns we did. And all the setup. The best part about having triple Masquerade is that they come back from the graveyard. Lastly, I want to say, if you've been thinking about playing Despia and you can't wait for the new broken support to come out and all the mirror matches that comes along with it, then feel free to try this deck out. It's pretty cool. It's pretty consistent. And it got me to Diamond 1. So yeah, thank you for watching, and peace out.